with Mrs. Harriet Adong, who is Director Communication, Learning and Knowledge Management at the Resilient Africa Network. Yes, so you're all very welcome to the launch of the Digital Payments Project. It's a project funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and anchored at the premier institutions of Makerere University and the University of Dakar in Senegal. We'll be starting in a few minutes.
Thank you, Max. And in addition to what Max has shared, like we are all aware, we have physical presence in this room, but we also have colleagues who are engaging with us online. We would love to welcome them heartily, but we would also love to welcome each one of you here. This is yet another demonstration of the power of partnership and collaboration, where Makerere University is witnessing yet a launch of another project supported by partnership and collaboration. We've shared with you a folder that has the project brief. It looks like this. Please peruse through and get the facts about the project. We are set to start at the top of the hour, 6 p.m., sorry. And why 6 p.m. is because we had to accommodate all our other partners who are in different countries, in different time zones. The ladies and gentlemen who are very smart on my far right are from Makerere University Community Choir. Those are products of our very own institution, and we are very, very proud to associate with you. They will be with us this evening to warm up our souls with melodies of their voices. We are just waiting for the top of the hour. In about 2 minutes, we should be ready to set the ball rolling, and then the rest of our participants will be able to join us. Once again, we want to thank each one of you for all the efforts towards where we are right now.
Oh, Uganda, may God uphold thee. We lay our future in thy hand, united, free for liberty, together we'll always stand. Oh, Uganda, the land of freedom, our love and labor we give, and with neighbors all at our country's calling, peace and friendship we live.
Oh, Uganda, the land that feeds us by sun and fertile soils thrown. For our only land we shall always stand and follow Africa's crown.
Mungu twaomba uilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike. Mmoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu njia yetu. Makerere, Makerere,
We build for the future,
the great Makerere, great, great and mighty the walls around thee, great, great and mighty the gates beside thee, great, great and mighty the walls around thee, great, great and mighty the gates beside thee. From east and west, from north and south, all voices singing, arise, Makerere. Rise up and rise, high up and high. All voices singing, arise, Makerere. Makerere, Makerere.
we build for the future,
The great Makerere, great, great and mighty the walls around thee, great, great and mighty the gates beside thee, great, great and mighty the walls around thee, great, great and mighty the gates beside thee.
Do not forget through all thy years those who have gone through the gates of Makerere. Give them the pride, give them the joy, all to remember the gates of Makerere.
Makerere, Makerere,
we build for the future,
the great Makerere, great, great and mighty the walls around thee, great, great and mighty the gates beside thee, great, great and mighty the walls around thee, great, great and mighty the gates beside thee.
Let's remain upstanding for a short word of prayer led by Dr. Eki. There's a microphone next to you there. Thank you.
Please join me in a prayer. Almighty God, we want to thank you for this project, and we want to ask you to go before this project. We pray that it will be able to achieve all its intended objectives. We thank you for bringing us to this launch, and we want to commit all the activities that we are going to have into your hands. We pray that everything will work out as planned. We particularly pray for the internet, that all those who are joining us from wherever they are will be able to do so seemingly. We give you thanks and we give you honor this day. In Jesus' name we've prayed. Amen.
Thank you very much, the Makerere University Community Choir and Dr. Ekirapa for setting the right tone for this event. Before you go any further, please allow me to read out a few ground rules for the smooth running of the event, and then we can proceed. We have a huge audience online. Please mute your microphones and turn off your videos. We need to save bandwidth and keep the network up. So please mute. If you're in the room, please don't join the Zoom link. There will be interference and irritating noises. So it's only those that are not here that can join remotely. It will be very helpful for those online to have their first name, last name, and name of the organization displayed. That's useful for any future correspondence that you might have. Timekeeping is key. If you have any question at any one point, please put it in the chat box. Don't wait for the end to ask the question. Just put it in the chat box. Someone is looking out for these questions. Those in the room can raise their hands when they have questions, and you also have the raise the hand option via Zoom. Very important, if you log in via Zoom, you have the option to choose the English or French channel. At the bottom of your screen, there is a small round icon that reads interpretation. Click there and you can choose English or French. And then you'll be able to. Please, technical team, you can share the ground rules in the chat for anyone who might have missed them. We've got an online audience at the University of Cheikh Anta Diop in Senegal. Bienvenue au lancement du projet de paiement digitaux. Je m'appelle Max Weber-Simou, je suis votre modérateur pour aujourd'hui avec Madame Harriet Adong. Permettez-moi de ne pas vous lire tout le programme pour sauver du temps, mais il faut s'attendre à des discours très instructifs de la part de nos interlocuteurs et nos conférenciers qui se sont distingués dans la recherche et beaucoup d'autres travaux dans le domaine de la santé. Without further ado, I'll invite Professor Peter Weiswa. Sorry, it's Professor Elzios for this one, to give us some opening remarks on behalf of Madame Rhoda Wanyeze.
All dignitaries present, all distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. I am standing in for the Dean of the School of Public Health, Professor Rhoda Wanyeze, and these are her welcome remarks. It is always an honor for the School of Public Health to extend the boundaries of knowledge through research. With the launch of new projects like this one on digital health payments initiatives and research in Africa, we envisage another trajectory where numerous research projects will emerge and innovations recorded. Research is a core function of Makerere University. And Makerere University is aiming at being a research-led university. This aligns well with having a transformative education within the School of Public Health and knowledge generation and translation. We appreciate all our partners, stakeholders, and funders as we pursue our mandate. Special thanks to the project secretariat in Uganda and Senegal for organizing this project launch. A vote of thanks goes to the Ministry of Health, University of Dakar, Senegal, WHO, Afro, and all the implementing partners for keeping your doors open to collaboration with the digital payment project. In a special way, we are grateful to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for the funding of this project. As the School of Public Health, this is yet another project supported by the Gates Foundation. We have received support from the Gates Foundation on assessment of COVID-19 response and shaping policy, the digital mortality assessment, and the leadership, management, and governance for eradication of malaria in Africa. 3 of these projects are consortia. They include countries in other regions of Africa, Central, Southern, and Western Africa. So the Gates Foundation is not only supporting research endeavors, it is also strengthening regional collaborations that are so essential in generating regionally relevant innovations. As Makerere celebrates 100 years of excellence in building a transformed society, We, as the School of Public Health, are committed to continue to research to support development efforts of this country and the entire region. Today is an important step toward strengthening digital health payments and innovations in Africa. The digital space has been expanding over time, and with COVID-19, its importance in financial transactions has even been more critical. We will look for the innovations being engineered. We will listen to the hopes and aspirations of the people spearheading the project, and we will learn from the experiences of each and every one of us to push this forward. I thank you.
Thank you, Professor Elzeus. I think my colleague Max did not mention Professor's other name, but I'm going to give it a shot. It's one of the longest that we've had in a very long time. Professor Elzeus Rutebe-Mberwa. Thank you so much for representing our dear Dean and for those remarks as we launch yet another project within the School of Public Health at Makerere University. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to move on with our program, like you must have seen, and it's time for us to listen to our project director, Professor Peter Waiswa, here in Uganda. And Professor Peter Waiswa is going to take us through the project structure, coverage, but also tell us how far we have come. Professor Waiswa, you're welcome. I thought you'd give our country director a hand clap. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Elzeus Rutebe-Mberwa, our Deputy Dean, who is actually leading one of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation-funded projects in Uganda and in Makerere, but through a consortia. I'm going to be presenting about this project. And the background to this project, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation approached us as Makerere and invited us to compete for this grant in Africa. And the project is about digital payment of health workers, mainly those who work in campaigns. We know that health workers form the largest input into immunization campaigns, but also in other campaigns. But how we pay health workers matters. If you pay health workers well, it can improve the performance of a campaign. There is some evidence that digital payment of health workers can be feasible, as indeed presented by Professor Rutebe-Mberwa. He said the digital space is expanding. It can mitigate some of the negative consequences from cash payment, as we know them. And in some of the countries like Uganda, we know that these are big issues. But it can also motivate health workers so that they perform better, leading to a better campaign and high coverage, but also the quality of the campaign. However, having said that, we don't have enough evidence about that. And this is why we have this project, to generate the evidence about the value of digital payment. The digital payment itself in this project is being done by ministries of health, the government, WHO, and others. For us in universities, we are designing studies to answer the question, what is the value of digital payment of health workers? We have two hubs. There is a hub which is in the English-speaking countries, based at Makerere University that my colleague, Dr. Elizabeth Seklapa, leads. And then we also have a hub in the University of Senegal for the French-speaking countries, which my friend, Professor Dama, who is online, is leading. We plan to establish eventually a center of excellence to study these issues in Africa. Now, in terms of studies, currently we have an investment for about 3 years. And these are the objectives of the investment that we have that we shall be doing in sub-Saharan Africa. We want to lead a process of co-development of contextually relevant research agenda around digitalization of payment of health workers. So we are going to be developing a research agenda around this subject and within countries. Secondly, we want to support the generation of high quality relevant evidence around the value of digital payment of health workers in Africa. Thirdly, we would like to establish a community of practice of researchers, of users, of collaborators who focus on this subject, including organizations like UNICEF, WHO, but also individuals across Africa. And we would like to garner local and international partnerships. This investment is currently by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. But we are thinking organizations like the Global Fund, Gavi, WHO, etc. are definitely interested. And eventually we hope we can establish an African Center of Excellence trying to study these issues of digital payment and doing innovations. And that center, we're already establishing it at Makerere, but also collaboratively with our colleagues in the University of Senegal. We have started on some activities already. We received the grant around November, effectively December, so we are quite new, hence the launch. We have a couple of strategies. One of the strategies we are doing right now is to ask the question, what is currently going on in Africa? By doing a landscape analysis of the local context challenges and opportunities of digitalization in Africa. So we have given out already a grant internally in Makerere and a grant in Senegal, where we shall be studying 4 African English-speaking countries and also 4 French-speaking countries. In fact, one of the values of this grant, it is bringing French closer to English in Africa. And I'm beginning to learn actually French for that purpose, and I hope our members also get to that. Can I have something in my slide? Okay. So the second one, we are going to be doing co-creation of the research agenda. So based on consultations, plus also the landscape analysis, we are going to be engaging stakeholders and develop a research agenda. What are the important topics to answer? And we hope those listening in, you can type questions that you think we should be studying around this topic. We shall be commissioning studies to answer some of these questions. So far, we have planned for about 12 studies. Those are generally going to be large studies done by people across Africa. So we shall be putting out RFAs, and people compete, and we select them, and we give them these awards. Then we shall also have internal grants. We have planned for 6 internal grants within Makerere and the University of Senegal, so that those can generate evidence. We have actually also put in some money for students so that we build the capacity of the next group of researchers in Africa. So then we shall be doing knowledge management and engagement trying to engage people in several ways. One, we have developed a website, and I know that my colleagues are putting this in the chat. What is our project? The website is in development. We're also going to start a community of practice where we shall be holding regular webinars, regular engagements, so that we bring more people into this area. And of course, share some of the research that we have. Next slide. Then we shall be doing capacity building for researchers around this space. We are, as I said, we're already collaborating with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, with WHO. We have a group in Nigeria called Solina and others, and also with the University of Harvard as part of this work, so that we build capacity. Next slide. Then we shall be engaging stakeholders. This is one of the engagement. Today we have a global audience attending this launch. So, but we shall start right at the best level within the country, within the regions, but then within Africa and globally. Next. Next. So the project, this is how it is organized. Of course, we're in Makerere, therefore we're under the board of Makerere, the leadership, the top management, but we're establishing a technical advisory group that is going to be overseeing the project and even the investment and also the quality. This is a global technical advisory group with people mainly based here in Africa. But we also have a secretariat, our members are here. We also have a hub in Senegal, which Professor Adama leads, and then a hub in Makerere that Dr. Elizabeth Eklapa leads. And we have administration and finance at Makerere that is supporting all this management. And then we have research coordinators and some senior research team members. Next. Next. So I would like to thank you for listening to me. This is the project we shall be doing over the next 3 years and beyond. And I would like to thank the support we're already receiving from a group in Nigeria called Solina, also colleagues at the University of Senegal, colleagues in Makerere, WHO, and others. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Professor Peter Waiswa, for your useful updates on the project so far and for managing time. Next, we'll have remarks from the WHO team. Dr. Andrew Bakainaga will take the lead on that.
Good evening. Colleagues from the various institutions online and in this room, the Deputy Dean who's representing the Dean of Makerere School of Public Health, the Project Director, colleagues from UNICEF and other UN agencies, both online and here, my colleagues from WHO Regional Office and Country Office that are online, ladies and gentlemen, protocol observed. From the WHO perspective, we are very, very excited to be a part of the launch of this digital health payment initiatives and research project in Africa. Without laboring too much, we all understand that moving into the digital payment arena is the way to go, and we have no option but to move there faster so that we can harness the gains that are in there. As alluded to by the Dean in her speech, we need to move towards these digital health payments so that we can overcome the various challenges that are currently being faced, especially in the immunization space, where we have big campaigns and therefore big human resource that has to be paid on time. Would like to to appreciate the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for making this investment in Africa. As mentioned by the project director, it's not only in Uganda, but it's collaboration between various universities. And specifically to the Bill and Melinda Gates, a special thanks for considering to run the investment through here in Uganda. Professor Waiswa and your team, we really want to appreciate you for taking the lead on this project, and we are looking forward to working with you closely and continue to strengthen the collaboration between WHO and the School of Public Health and Makerere University in general. As you know very well, we are working very closely with the School of Public Health in very many interventions, and we have a long-standing memorandum of understanding, and therefore this comes in to build on this and take us further. We would also take this opportunity to thank the Ministry of Health, the University of Dakar, Senegal, and our regional office that has been at the forefront of this digital payment. As mentioned by Prof, we had a part of this component that was being supported through the country office to work together with the Ministry of Health in developing and updating their health worker database for purposes of actually implementing the digital payments. We have supported the implementation of many interventions targeting the vaccinators and health workers, like the most recent health worker and VHC registration that I've just alluded to. And we continue to work towards ensuring that we improve the way that health workers can get their incentives in a timely manner so that they can be more and well motivated. And we commit to supporting the project and providing guidance. Findings from this project, as outlined by Professor Waiswa, will extend beyond the health workers in mass campaigns, but also, most especially, very useful in other health coordinations such as COVID, vaccinations, malaria, TB, among others in Africa and in Uganda. We look forward to continued collaboration as we positively transform the communities in which we live and serve through research and innovation. Today is an important step towards strengthening digital health payments and innovations in Africa. We look forward as WHO to learn, and we continue to commit the unreserved collaboration and support both at the regional and country level. I thank you all for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Andrew Bakainaga, for your very firm commitments with the WHO on collaboration that will help bring this project to fruition. I think we'll now pass to the Senegalese side. Monsieur Fa, si vous m'entendez bien. Je pense que nous pouvons passer au côté sénégalais pour le discours de Monsieur Ibrahima Khalilullah Dia. Est-ce que vous m'entendez bien? The address from Senegal will be in French, but there will be real-time translation here. We've got a translator on site. Monsieur Fa, si vous m'entendez bien, c'est à vous maintenant. C'est bon, je vous laisse la place.
Personne, ça passe pas. Hein?
Je vous attends, c'est bon.
Parce que je crois qu'ils n'ont pas respecté l'agenda. Ils n'ont pas respecté l'agenda. Donc, Allô?
Allô, monsieur Fa, est-ce que vous m'entendez?
Max?
Oui, monsieur, est-ce que vous m'entendez?
Oui, je t'entends.
Oui, donc il y a des présentateurs qui ne sont pas encore sur Zoom, donc on va aller sur monsieur.
Allô?
Allô?
Oui.
Il y a des présentateurs qui ne sont pas sur Zoom maintenant, donc on va aller sur monsieur Ibrahima pour son adresse, s'il est là maintenant.
Monsieur Ibrahima Khalil Dia n'est pas encore là, mais il y a le professeur Barandiaï qui est là, vice-recteur de l'université Cheikh Anta Diop de Dakar.
Ok. Je pense
Voilà.
qu'on peut aller à le professeur Barandiaï. So,
You can listen to Professor Maranja from Dakar, from the University of Dakar.
Allez-y.
We can introduce Professor Baranjai, but before we do that, we want to thank our friends, our African friends, and Bill and Melinda Gates for this funding. We also try to listen to the presentations which you have made about those very important people, but you know that in our university, Professor Baranja is going to speak very soon. Then we have the Faculty of Pharmacy and Deontology, where he has been teaching since 2002. He's also head of pharmacist in the University of the FAR, president of the Medical Commission, where we have just had a reform in Senegal, and there's a configuration in the health structure, and currently is the president of the commission. So I am giving the floor. Professor, you have the floor, please.
Bonjour ou bonsoir à tous.
Good morning, good evening, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure for me to represent my university during a time of inaugurating this project, university, which is jointly undertaken by the University of Dakar and the University of Makerere. Then the qualities and characteristics were identified by the university and the Ministry of Health. We identified the needs in the health structure, And then the personnel was also identified. We also need to note that specialists in the medical area are more concentrated in the urban areas of Dakar. So in order to avert those deficits in health workers, some habitual methods of recruiting personnel, then the installation of health equipment were all put into account. And we needed to come up with innovative solutions, ethical measures, and then the digital health, so that we can improve health services that are rendered to the public, and also the dissemination of information, of health information, and development of digital health represents a very important aspect in Senegal. And we believe that it is going to be very effective, and it is going to reduce the costs to the service providers and those that require these services. So the Ministry of Health in Senegal took note of the concerns of the Senegalese population that I've just talked about. For example, provision of the health services. The plan had been elaborated, but it didn't take into account these concerns. But now we are aware of the concerns that have been put across by the responsible people. So in Senegal, the health workers face a problem of payments, not only in vaccination campaigns, but also other campaigns that concern the citizens of Senegal. So this had a very big impact on health performance, and also the population, is more especially the children who are vulnerable.
Donc une innovation majeure, et je voudrais vraiment féliciter donc les promoteurs de ce projet, les initiateurs, donc le professeur Adama Faye et ses partenaires de l'université Makerere. Quand nous nous félicitons que l'université Cheikh Anta Diop de Dakar
So we're also involved in this project that is funded by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And this project will be important and has the objective of being interactive and efficient. So I think this will help us to carry out research in the communities. And this will be the main mission of our university, so that digital payments are included for service providers. And we're also going to try to harness digital solutions in the health services, and thereby transforming the African health system using such innovations. We shall also be able to cover gaps and ensure that we have better health services in the sub-Saharan region. This initiative involves different actors, and it also brings Francophone and Anglophone universities together. And at the end of this project, they will come up with digital health innovations and research. the partnership between Makerere University and the Sheikh Anta Diop University of Dakar is a good example for the African region and the South-to-South cooperation. We thank you for all the efforts that you have carried out and the governments that has helped African countries to fight against different diseases. We have also been able to fight different inequalities in our continent. We want to thank different partners in this project. It's an ambitious project. The results of this project will help us to understand the challenges of digital health and how we can make things better. So we are going to carry out very important decisions. So I would like to thank you for listening. Thank you. Thank you very much. Max, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Max?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. Nous notons aussi la présence du professeur Massamba Diouf.
To thank our professor, and as the director said in his speech, we also have another Professor Adama, who is head of the School of Medicine at the University Sheikh Anta Diop. We also thank the WHO team for the fight against COVID-19. The Ministry of Health in Senegal was involved in planning and implementation of health policies. We also want to thank different health professionals, the WHO Center for Training in Francophone countries. So I would like to allow him to say something. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. Thank you, Max.
Allô, Monsieur Faye? Vous avez quelqu'un qui va parler maintenant? Ok, merci beaucoup, Monsieur Ibrahima, pour votre discours. On va passer la parole à Madame Kendall de la Fondation Bill Melinda Gates. Sorry for skipping a few areas on the agenda. We had speakers who had challenges joining online, but they're now on. So we'll move back to Mrs. Kenda Cross, Senior Program Officer from the Global Delivery Programs at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. She'll give us some remarks on why to invest in this area of digital transformation in the health sector. Kenda, if you can hear me, you can take the floor.
Great. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thanks.
Perfect. Hi, everybody. My name is Kendall Kraus. I'm a Senior Program Officer at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and have had the honor to be working with this team to set up this initiative. And I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to say a few words on behalf of BMGF in support of this launch. Of course, we wish we could be with you in person, and it's really fantastic to see how many people have joined. I think it's really indicative of the energy and support around this initiative. And a special thanks to Professor Wiswa, who described this initiative so well, and to the other speakers so far. As I mentioned, it's a real honor to be supporting this work. We see this as a key opportunity to better understand, support, and scale the digitization of payments to health campaign workers. And the research and insights that this initiative will produce will be really vital in supporting our collective knowledge about what works in digital payments. So I'd like to thank Professor Wiswa and the Dean, both of the universities, the technical partners, and the Republic of Uganda Ministry of Health, and everyone else who is and will be supporting this work. So as you've heard, the goal of this initiative is to provide research and policy guidance that will accelerate and inform national, regional, and global action to digitize payments to health workers, starting with health campaign workers. And I wanted to take the opportunity to provide a little background about the inspiration we've been working in. One is supporting the development of innovations to improve the effectiveness of mass health campaigns. And the second is supporting research, implementation, and scaling of digital payments to health workers. A little bit about the first, which is called health campaign effectiveness. So many programs, including immunization, NTDs, nutrition, malaria, and polio, not surprisingly, regularly rely on health campaigns to support large-scale health impact. And really all countries utilize health campaigns in some capacity. One example would be for outbreak response. But they're also, as I'm sure most of you are familiar, used to reach vulnerable populations, to support elimination and eradication goals, and really to achieve other epidemiologic and health goals. However, we know that the performance of health campaigns is quite variable, and campaigns often don't realize their potential impact. So for example, post-campaign surveys show that less than half of measles and vitamin A campaigns reach their intended coverage targets. And further, vulnerable and other marginalized communities continue to be missed, which is a really important role of health campaigns, is reaching those communities. So although many campaigns have been experimenting and are starting to experiment with and implement innovations to increase effectiveness, those innovations are rarely systematically evaluated, iterated upon, or disseminated. And we really believe there's an opportunity to dramatically improve the way in which health campaigns realize impact. So we're supporting solutions that accelerate the coverage, reach, efficiency, and effectiveness of mass health campaigns, including this one. Broadly, the work to improve health campaigns has two levers. One is around developing a community of practice and a venue for conversation and collaboration across disease areas that utilize campaigns. And you may be familiar with the Health Campaign Effectiveness Coalition, which is led by the Task Force for Global Health. You can find it at campaigneffectiveness.org, and I'll put that address in the chat when I'm finished. Many really fantastic resources around improving health campaigns, and they'll be working closely with this team. And there's also work focused on conducting and disseminating operational research on health campaign innovations like this. And then the second large body of work that this is anchored in and will be supporting is improving access to digital payments. You've heard a lot about that this morning already. As you're aware and has been described, payments to health workers can account for a significant amount of campaign and health system budgets. And we know that many health programs, including the Global Polio Program, have identified payment delays as a limiting factor for quality campaign implementation. Furthermore, research has shown that delayed, inconsistent, and insecure payments can undermine worker performance. It can encourage leakage and reduce overall effectiveness of those campaigns. And for this and other reasons, we believe that improving the way in which we enroll, pay, and support healthcare workers can have a significant impact on the quality of campaigns and service delivery. However, we also know that research to systematically identify the priority problems with health payments and to rigorously evaluate the solutions is limited. And that will be the role of this initiative, is to help build that research and move it to policy. We do have evidence from analogous interventions that suggest that digitization of wage payments to health workers may improve system performance and efficiency, and ultimately improve health outcomes among the population served by these healthcare workers. And you've heard about the work that we've done to date in collaboration with AFRO and the ministries to improve the approach to digitizing payments to polio outbreak campaigns. And that's really kind of the seed of what the implementation of digital payments and health campaigns that we'd like to build on. So the initiative that's launching today will provide the necessary evidence to, number one, validate the benefits of digitizing payments. To number two, ensure that digitization doesn't lead to exclusion or impose constraints on campaign effectiveness. And thirdly, to directly inform the operations of active and future campaigns. And Professor Wiswa already put forward the more specific goals of this initiative, but those three are kind of how it connects back to those larger picture bodies of work that I mentioned. And as has been described, the long-term vision here is that this initiative will be a step towards establishing a sustainable and influential center of excellence that provides insights on questions related to digital payments and campaign effectiveness overall. And we're just really thrilled to have these strong and capable partners leading this work. In the first few months since the launch, they've already made really significant progress, and we will be working closely to ensure that the outputs of this initiative are used to inform real-life decisions and policies regarding the implementation of digital payments and campaigns, and eventually in health systems. And we just so value that we have these two globally respected academic institutions that will be working with technical partners and ministries to generate this evidence that will have, first of all, a direct impact on health workers themselves, but also the effectiveness of health systems, and really most importantly, in service of improving health outcomes for the populations that these health workers serve. So really looking forward to the remainder of this launch and the learnings that will emerge from the initiative. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your interest in this work, and I will turn it back to the moderator. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kendo. And here in Uganda, we clapped for you. We hope that you had the clap. We are moving on to a keynote presentation, and this will be by Associate Professor Margaret Ann Mcconnell, who is at the Harvard School of Public Health, but she's also the leader in health economics and leading a lot of work around about digital payments. Associate Professor Mcconnell, if you can hear us, we would love to hand over the microphone to you. Thank you.
Terrific. Thank you so much. Yes, I can hear you. I hope you can hear me. I'm very glad to be with you today. I'm glad we were able to work out getting onto the Zoom. So I wish I was there. As Kendall said, I really wish I was there in person. I think this seems like a terrific event, and there's a lot of excitement. And part of what I want to do today is talk about some of the sort of initial background and scoping work that our team at the Harvard Chan School has done, and why I think this new launch of this new project is really terrific and exciting, and is going to sort of lead to a lot of answering of open questions that I think are really important in this space. So I'm honored to have the opportunity to be part of the launch, and I look forward to sort of supporting and learning from this very exciting work. And I think the energy in the room and the sort of number of people attending and the diversity of participation is just a sort of terrific sign of where all this work is going. So as mentioned, I'm a health economist, and have been working with several members of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation to explore what started as a very broad scoping of digital financial services in low and middle income countries, and sort of where things are with the potential for digitizing the payments and digitizing payment processes generally, payments to health workers, and just digital payments more broadly. So the scoping report was very broad. So how has digital financial services been utilized in the health sector? I think there was the impression that it has not been utilized as much maybe as in some other sectors. What are some of the challenges and obstacles that have prevented digital financial services from really expanding? And then what I'm really interested in is uncovering some of the sort of open questions in research and priorities for learning on supporting operations that can strengthen digital financial services. And I think the digital financial services is sort of a really good window on what's happening in a health system. Getting health workers paid is a really key function of a health system, and having, happy, motivated, hardworking health workers who are incentivized to do good work is obviously a key element of making health systems work and of improving the quality of delivery, which I think many people are increasingly seeing as one of the biggest challenges in healthcare delivery. So I think that the sort of thinking through carefully how payments work, how digital financial services can improve them, also illuminates a lot of broader questions about health workers, how to support them, and how to create a high-functioning health system. So this is sort of the background. One of the pieces of products that we put out as part of this scoping work was, what we realized was we needed to have sort of a conceptual model to think through, why it would be that digitizing health worker payments might lead to improvements in health system performance. So, Kendall talked about this some, and I know that Professor Weiswa and others on the team have thought about this, in a lot of detail, and will be contributing to, fleshing out this framework and thinking through sort of various pieces of where we need more knowledge. But just really broadly, I think that we identified a few potential key mechanisms of impact that could result from digitizing health worker payments. There's improved transparency, sort of more of a sense of, how much is getting paid, when that payment is happening, what payments are for. There's just faster sort of payment processing. And then there's sort of the increase potentially in convenience, efficiency, and safety that comes from digital payments. And so what we've done is sort of map each of those potential direct mechanisms of impact to sort of the outcomes that are hoped for. So these would be, reductions in leakage from improved transparency of where payments are going, more on-time payments, more complete payments, and a sort of better, more useful payment process. And then finally, I think this is really important, some of the initial work that we've been doing, just a digital payment process can support sort of, a system that is easier for health workers to engage in, that takes less of their time, that therefore leaves more time for the key work that the healthcare workers are doing. So I think these impacts, are at all levels of the health system, from the broad question of how much money the health system is spending to the sort of micro question of how does a health worker feel about how they're treated in the system. Are they able to sort of make ends meet for their family, and are they able to therefore focus on work and be present when they are at work? So you could sort of see how these things might translate to much broader, longer term improvements in how the health system is working and how health workers are able to work themselves, with the sort of overall objective being, improvements in health system performance. But I think the other thing that this conceptual mapping illustrates is that there are lots of gaps in research and evidence about various pieces along these potential causal pathways. So, for example, how important is the relationship between getting paid on time and health worker motivation and performance? It may be that it's critical and really important, or it may be that it's not as important as how much a health worker is paid. And I think one of the reasons that I'm very excited about the work that the Makerere team and Professor Weiswa and colleagues are pursuing is I think that it will help get at some of these key conceptual foundational questions about how important health worker payment processes are for the performance of the system, in addition to sort of other questions about how digitization is working in practice and how to make it better. So I think what we sort of identified is a few major research priorities, all of which this new initiative speaks to. So one is just, while I think many people recognize that payment delays are relatively common, there hasn't been a lot of quantitative analysis about how common they are. So how common are payment delays? What kind of health worker experiences those delays? This sort of documentation of the prevalence of payment delays, the sort of types of workers or systems or facilities where payment delays are more common, I think is a really critical piece of just establishing the evidence base for understanding payment processes and what they mean. I think the other key piece that the sort of work is going to potentially be able to illuminate is what is the implication of a payment delay? So what's the relationship between payment delays and what we know to be challenges in health system functioning? So whether health workers are attending work, how many of the things that they should be doing and, evidence suggests that they have knowledge to do, are they actually performing in the job? And then how easy is it to keep health workers in a system that really needs experienced and quality workers to stay. So this question of what is the relationship between potentially making payment processes work better and these downstream effects is one where there's a lot more evidence needed. Then I think the other sort of major question is that I'm excited about this initiative's ability to answer is, what do we know about different payment processes? So I think the work here will obviously document the effects of digital payments, but also maybe sort of a broader context for how common digital payments are, how are payments typically being made, what are some of the logistical and operational details of how those work. I think that sort of translates to how payments are made, but actually also how documentation happens. So how do you write down the work that you do? Who needs to approve that work? How do those approval processes work? What is the recourse if you feel that you weren't paid the right amount? All of these incredibly complex layers of the process of payment. We don't have much systematic cross-country data on how they compare across different settings. And, I think that's a key piece of just understanding the landscape of payments. And one of the reasons this work is very exciting. And I will say we just to give a little bit of data, we were curious about this question of how common payment delays are. And so we went to look for secondary data that exists. The World Bank has these results-based financing and service delivery indicators surveys. And so these surveys have been used for many purposes, but one of the questions that they ask is a question about payment delays. So this is a direct survey to health workers. These are all facility-based workers as opposed to community health workers and public sector workers. And so the question is, have you received any delayed payment in the recent past? And this is sort of an ongoing effort to kind of analyze data that we know has already been collected and understand, rates of variation. And what we're seeing is that it is indeed the case that payment delays are common and that they vary widely. So this is data from several different countries and different time periods. So, you see that there's big variation. Sometimes payment delays are common, sometimes they're less common. So I think the main thing I would say is this is sort of the tip of the iceberg. I think there's a lot to learn. And I think the way this initiative is set up is sort of poised to be able to learn a lot of really exciting things on these sort of foundational questions. And then I think the other piece is that there's a lot of operational challenges that need to be surfaced that are really different and idiosyncratic in different settings. So, as I mentioned before, payments to frontline health workers are not just about the actual payments itself, they're about the entire process of documenting work. So this sort of process needs to be understood. The variations in how it's designed need to be understood. And I think the work that the team is doing is really terrific in that sense. I would say, I think one of the things that we're doing in our sort of scoping and broader landscaping work is some qualitative case studies. I think in this example, we're working in India with community health workers and understanding, incredible detail about how their payment systems work, talking to higher level district leaders, local health leaders, and community health workers. And I think what we're seeing in that is just a sort of tremendous challenges in even in places that have digital payment systems, in the documentation of work, the amount of time that it takes, the transparency of the process of who to ask, and who to ask if you're not paid the right amount, who to ask about how much you should be documenting work. And I know that that's part of the planned work for the Makerere and Professor Weiswa and colleagues. And I think some of this sort of institutional detail about how payment processes work, you can learn a lot from this qualitative work. And so I'm just excited to learn more about what's uncovered. And then finally, I think this is obviously one of the big focuses of the work is there's a real need for causal evidence of the impact of digital payments on payment experiences and health system performance. I think there's tremendous promise for digitizing payments to really have this transformative effect. But of course, we need to establish whether that effects happens in practice. So you can imagine how challenges in implementation of digital payment systems or other systemic problems might limit the effect of digital payments in certain settings. And so getting that sort of causal evidence is really important. And I know that's one of the main focuses of this initiative is to try to establish some of the causal effects of making these digital payments. I think I would say our other piece of work, and I'll sort of conclude here, and happy to take any questions if there are any, or just listen to the remainder of the talks. What we've been doing is sort of a pragmatic learning agenda of working with the foundation, folks from WHO Afro and from various Ministry of Health teams to link some of the surveys of polio workers who've received digital payments during the last year and a half, 2 years, with some of the polio performance data. So we're trying to learn something about how the experience of being paid digitally, how your satisfaction with that process as a health worker links to the performance of your team in leading to higher coverage of polio. This is a very sort of pragmatic learning campaign, and I would say that one of the main things we've learned is the challenges of causal inference in this setting where you have a huge health system intervention being delivered very rapidly, scaled up very rapidly, and what you would love to do is compare places where digital payments are being scaled up to those that are not, to understand that causal impact. But of course, there are many challenges to doing that, especially when there's sort of operational and logistical sort of priorities that can make it hard to sort of have that ideal research design. And I think that the sort of work that's being funded here and the initiatives that you'll undertake are super exciting. And I think prioritizing that question, that causal question of what is if we compare digital payments to the counterfactual of cash payments, how much are they really adding? And I think that's where I'm very excited to see some of the learnings. So I will, get to my conclusion. Some details here that this is some sort of very, very basic data. This is basically the reports from a health worker. We're looking at the reports from a health worker about how they felt about their payment experience. So on the left side here, health workers who are feeling great about their payment experience, and then there's some health workers that are feeling not as good. And I think this is sort of some very preliminary data that suggests that there's some relationship between the coverage rate of the polio campaign, so how many kids who should have been vaccinated seem to have been vaccinated, and how the health workers are feeling. I think this is limited in the sense that we don't have payment experiences and feelings from health workers who are paid with cash. This is comparing within those who are paid with digital payments, and we are seeing some sort of signal even here. But I think what's really exciting about the work to come is the potential to do that comparison of places where there's a status quo payment processes, business as usual, to sort of looking and comparing with the transformative effect of the digital payments. So I will just say, I think there's a lot of opportunities for learning here, not just about the sort of mechanical effects of digital payments, but much broader about what makes health systems run well, what makes them deliver high quality services, what makes them support their health workers, who are sort of the key piece of infrastructure. And I think the sort of team is set up to answer the sort of highest priority questions, and I'm super excited to learn from the work and support it however I can, and I'm grateful to have the chance to present today and share some of what we've done so far, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Associate Professor Margaret McDonnell. We are very happy to hear your keynote presentation, and I'm sure there will be some questions and also areas for reflection as we move on. But would like to request our online participants to kindly make use of our chat box to raise questions, and we'll be able to take them on from there. So after this keynote address, we are moving on to yet some remarks from the Digital Finance Officer at the World Health Organization, AFRO, and she's going to speak to us about the implementation of mobile money to pay campaign health workers in sub-Saharan Africa. And the lady going to speak to us about this is none other than Leah, Leah Wanjeri. And briefly about Leah, she's a digital finance officer at the World Health Organization Africa Regional Office, which is based in Pretoria, South Africa. She has been involved in the implementation of digital payments in various countries within Africa, largely by actively engaging with key stakeholders such as the Ministry of Health, Digital Financial Services, but also providers, including UN agencies and other partners. Leah has previously held different positions with various communication and telecommunication companies within Africa, largely specializing in mobile money payments. Leah, if you can hear me, I'm happy to hand over the microphone to you. Thank you. Leah, are you able to hear me?
Yes. Sorry, I was unable to unmute.
Okay. Please go ahead with your presentation. Thank you.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Thank you for that introduction. So I'm part of the digital finance team with WHO Afro, and this is a team that is about 1.5 years old, and having started around September of 2020, and it was established mostly to run with the digital finance project that I think has been alluded to a bit in this webinar. So the reasons as to why this was established, I think, has been mentioned by quite a few of the presenters who've gone before me, but I'll quickly just dive into some of the reasons. These are just a few of them. We had established that there were quite a number of delays when it came to disbursement of funds. And as a result of these delays in disbursement of funds, you would find campaigns also being delayed and or even being postponed to future dates. We also had issues with lack of transparency. So we had areas where money would be disbursed, but it became very difficult to really establish who had received the money, how much they had received, is it what they were supposed to receive, and a lot of challenges when it came to transparency. And we also had issues when it came to bureaucracy, because there were quite a number of layers that the funds had to go through before reaching the frontline workers. And also this created a lot of duplication when it came to making the payments. These are just some of the challenges that were very evident when it came to paying the frontline health workers. And as a result of that, of course, we had very demotivated health workers. And every time we needed to look into campaigns and recruitment, we would always have these challenges with recruiting the caliber of workers that we wanted. Then, of course, since these payments were mostly cash-based, and now with COVID, and also there were a few issues to do. Wanted to strengthen when it comes to the AML issues. So it was found to be best to transition to the digital payments, and this was done in collaboration with BMGF. And so for the past 1.5 years, this team of about 9 has been in different countries. So we've launched this project in 15 countries. And out of this, we've created databases of more than 350,000 workers, and we've made payments to more than 150,000 workers through mobile money. And this has been done in some places. It's been done in phases, and in some countries it's complete now, and we are also in the phase of transitioning to Ministry of Health. So that is the case for Cote d'Ivoire, which was the pilot country in 2020. For the other countries like Mali, Ghana, Gambia, and the rest, this is still ongoing, but there has been some level of payments. So for a country like Burkina Faso, we have established a database of about 84,000 workers, and now this will be used and utilized when we are making payments in the next campaigns. So for this year, we have countries that we are already implementing in, DRC, Cameroon, Uganda, Malawi, Kenya, and Nigeria. These are some of the priority countries for this half. When it comes to some of the pillars that we have for this project, as I think I've mentioned, we need to create a database. Then every time we get into these countries, we establish a national task force where we partner with various stakeholders and most of the ministries of health in the various countries. And then we engage service providers. So we have contracts with service providers. And also, I think as just has been presented from Harvard, then we have to conduct studies and then establish an exit strategy with the ministries of health. And this is something that I think we're already doing now in Cote d'Ivoire. And also we've partnered with DFI to ensure that we also empower the Ministry of Health when it comes to adapting and transitioning from cash to digital payments, and also not just within polio, but also beyond the polio programs. So we are pretty much excited to be part of this partnership also with the Africa Digital Health and Innovation and Research Center. And we look forward to the learnings from your research and having better technical outputs when it comes to a better understanding of the outputs of the campaigns, and also to get insights and learnings as well as best practices due to the partnership that we are launching today. That having been said, I don't want to take much of your time. If there are no questions, I would like to stop here and probably to listen into the rest of the presentations. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Madam Leah Wanjeri, for that address, highlighting challenges that have validated the need for digital payments. And the figures, 350,000 health workers, 150,000 transactions, really show that there's traction here. We'll pass to the Senegalese team. Monsieur Faye, on attend le discours de Monsieur Ibrahima, du ministère de la Santé au Sénégal. Ça serait bien de nous donner quelques informations sur son parcours, si vous m'entendez. The speech will be in French from Mr. Ibrahima Kalilula Dia from the Digital Health Unit at the Ministry of Health in Senegal. A few seconds to connect. Monsieur Faye, si vous m'entendez, on peut entendre le discours de Monsieur Ibrahima. Allô, Monsieur Faye? Est-ce qu'il y a quelqu'un du côté sénégalais qui nous entend? Dr. Zahara, you can take over. Vous pouvez prendre la parole si vous m'entendez. In the interim, I can recognize the presence of Dr. David Luogo, who is representing the Department of Community Health and Behavioral Sciences, the School of Public Health. Professor Dr. Sarah Saliu, Professor Sarah Saliu, who is the Dean of the School of Gender and Women's Studies at the University of Makerere. Mr. Johnson Mutesigensi from the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. Dr. Flavia Mpaji from UNICEF, and the entire UNICEF team. Dr. Paul Katamba from the Global Fund of Uganda. Dr. Henry Katamba from the Ministry of Health. You're all very welcome. We seem to be having challenges. Who is the next?
I understand Ibrahim is speaking in the physical space in Senegal. Those are the messages I'm receiving. But we cannot hear him here in Uganda. Ibrahim, do you want to try to speak one more time, please? Your audio is turned off. Our technical team says your audio is off. Okay. I think in the interest of time, we'll take a decision to move on.
Hello?
Is that Senegal?
Monsieur Faye, on vous passe le micro pour le discours de Monsieur Ibrahima.
Oui, Max, vous nous entendez?
Oui, il faut procéder avec le discours de Monsieur Ibrahima.
Can you hear us?
Yes, please,
Max?
we can hear you now.
Max, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Monsieur Faye, si vous m'entendez, est-ce qu'on peut
Oui, je vous entends très bien.
Est-ce qu'on peut passer tout de suite au discours de Monsieur Ibrahima?
Monsieur Ibrahima est là dans la salle, il va prendre la parole.
Merci beaucoup.
Is here in the room. I think his microphone is off. Hello, Max. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Monsieur Faye,
Vous m'entendez?
le micro
Oui.
n'est pas activé. Le micro de Monsieur Ibrahima n'est pas activé. Il doit activer son micro d'abord.
Voilà. Zara, venez nous aider.
His microphone is switched off.
Okay. I think
Vous avez compris?
in the interest of time, we'll make sure we share his remarks with all our participants via email. We deeply apologize for that.
Allô, attends. Bon, s'il peut commencer maintenant, il paraît...
C'est bon, je crois que vous m'entendez maintenant, c'est bon.
Je vous attends, mais je n'attends pas Monsieur Ibrahima.
Vous m'entendez maintenant?
Oui,
C'est
je
bon.
vous attends.
Ok, je donne la parole à Ibrahim Khalilja. Max?
Oui.
Ok.
Continuez.
Merci beaucoup. Je voudrais me...
Thank you very much. I would like to introduce myself again. I'm called Ibrahima Hija. I coordinate the unit involved in digital health within the Ministry of Health in Senegal. Allow me to convey greetings and thanks from the Ministry of Health, Mr. Abdoulaye Dussaf. I am going to be brief and I'm going to talk about 3 or 4 things. In Senegal, we are doing very well regarding digital health. we have a service that has been in place since 2017. We have a vision. We've been able to discuss with the Ministry of Finance in Senegal to fund our major digital projects. So we are in this kind of dynamic process. Digital payments are extremely important because if you notice today, we're talking more about applications and their operations. But if you notice, we tend to go to the banks with our Visa card, and yet, which I can use for every bank in the world. So there's some kind of interconnected system. So the financial system is important for us to accelerate digital transformation. The other focus that we find that as very important is traceability. So all those who manage hospital centers use digitalization, and this is important for digital payments.
University of Dakar.
Allow me to also thank the University of Dakar as well as our participants online.
Écosystème digital. Il faut que ce soit animé.
This helps us to be active. We should have activities in various fields so that the people know what is happening. We should continue to communicate and educate the rest of the people in our country. So I think this carries out important interventions in the rural areas, which is very crucial because you know the banks do not exist everywhere. So one can be able to access financial resources, and that is extremely important. As far as priorities are concerned, we realize that in this kind of research, we should continue to educate our people so that they accept digital payments as citizens. If this work should be done, it's important to sensitize our people to be able to access digital payments and use technological means. It's important for traceability, and it will help Africa to get out of a situation of underdevelopment. So it will help us to see what people think during our investigations. Now, as far as challenges are concerned, we've realized that this project helps us to trace funds. So this project will help us to educate the masses even more and help them to understand that it's important to trace funds because we lose a lot of funds when there's no traceability. So to face this challenge, we need to help people to accept the systematic process of these payments, digital payments. In conclusion, I would like to first of all thank our main partners, and our main partner is the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Thank you for the funding. I would also like to congratulate the universities that were selected, and Professor Fai, I would like to say that you have the support of the Ministry of Health in this project. We encourage you to have many similar projects because this system is complex and every area should be covered. The universities, the health centers and health facilities, this should help us to transform our health system. So I would like to thank you and do not hesitate to contact us. We are here to support you. I thank you.
Merci, merci Ibrahima. Il a beaucoup
Thank you very much, Ibrahima. We have this
bulletin de salaire.
It's not reaching every corner, and salaries paid in banks.
Thank you so much.
Le côté social.
So
thank you.
This helps us to see how we can manage this with digital payments. Max, I
Thank
hear
you.
me.
Yes, thank you, Eric. We can hear you. And we would love to request that we move on with our program, please. Thank you, and we thank Ibrahim for the remarks. Thank you so much for connecting to Uganda. Ladies and gentlemen, we are moving towards the actual launch of this baby project. And allow me, with all honor, to request our First Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor Umar Kakumba. He is the First Deputy Vice Chancellor at Makerere University. Today, he is also representing our Vice Chancellor, who could not be with us due to other engagements. Professor Kakumba, if you can hear me, it's with great pleasure that I request you to speak to our audience who are physical here at the Kampala Serena Hotel, but also in Senegal, and others are online. Over to you, Professor Kakumba. Thank you.
Yes, a very good evening to you. It's a great opportunity for you. I want to thank you so much for this opportunity to represent Vice Chancellor Makerere University, Professor Barnabas Nawangwe. I'm also away, I'm joining you away from Kampala, but it's a great opportunity for this engagement. First and foremost, I want to go through the protocol, the honorable members of parliament here present. I take the opportunity to recognize the partners, the funders, the opportunity to having facilitated this collaboration and engagement. The Minister of Health, Minister of Finance, Minister of ICT, our principals of the colleges, the deans of faculty at Makerere University, the academia, our partners from the Dakar University of Shanta Diop, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I should say a very good evening to you in Uganda, but also morning in Senegal, afternoon in Senegal, and then good morning elsewhere in the US, those that are joining us. Yeah, today's engagement is a very, very important engagement. It's one of those that bring us together to kickstart this new project that is focusing on digitizing the health systems in Uganda and also Africa as a whole. Sorry, can you hear me? Yes, hello?
Yes, Prof, we can hear you.
Oh, sorry, I thought I was muted here. Yeah, so as I go along, I was pointing out that Makerere University is leveraging its success from its past research initiatives to try and make interventions in society, to address society challenges, the emerging challenges of our society. And in this regard, we are trying as much as possible to go digitization, and digitization of the health system is one of those very, very, very important initiatives. You'll agree with me that this project is being hosted by a partnership between Makerere and Senegal, presents an opportunity to strengthen our collaboration within Africa countries, but also connecting to the Francophone. As you are aware, Makerere and Uganda are former British colonies, but then this gives us a penetration and an opportunity to work with the Francophone institutions. It is, if successful, digital payment will be useful in our health conditions such as COVID-19, vaccination, malaria, TB, and more. I am confident that this project has able leadership led by Professor Rhoda Wanyenze, the Dean of the School of Public Health. And I'm also aware that Professor Peter Waiswa is behind this, and is supported by many other experts within Makerere. And this will give us a very, very good confidence to sustaining this initiative. In this way, Makerere will be able to fulfill its dreams, becoming a research-led university, which is our key strategic focus as a university, to try and, based on research, to create solutions, to create services, to create products, to create tools that can be able to, solve problems in our society across the spectrum. Yeah, we appreciate the University of Dakar, Senegal, the WHO, Afro, and the Solina Group in Nigeria for collaboratively working together and supporting us in the implementation work on this project. We are all looking forward to a continued good working relationship as we strive to better the lives of the communities in which we serve and the communities in which we live. We wish also to thank the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for the investment. This is one of the many investments that the School of Public Health is leading, and I'm also aware that these initiatives have been funded and supported by the Bill and Melinda and also other partners. We appreciate your sacrifice and always seeing to it that health promoting agendas are given a great priority. Yeah, through this project, we ultimately hope to establish a center of excellence, and the centers of excellence are very, very important, as you are aware, ladies and gentlemen, because they become hubs of not only creating research networks, but they become hubs of multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary research, but they also become hubs in translating research and knowledge to the community so that it can easily be utilized by our communities. So in such a way, once we have, when we have the Center of Excellence, in this way we shall be able to reach more people when it comes to public health issues, and we shall also be able to provide information when it comes to the digital payment systems. And we shall also be able to promote cross-learning among different actors in the digital health systems. In this way, we shall be able to enhance the use of digital systems in different areas, even those beyond the health. It will also give an example to other areas in agriculture, environmental sciences, other areas in veterinary services, and many others. So this digital system arrangement is one that can be able to bank on, and it can really deliver good dividends to other faculty initiatives. We look forward to seeing you, ladies and gentlemen, and in many future initiatives that will support the activities of these digital innovations. And we also look forward to the stakeholders sharing the knowledge on the digital payment. The same knowledge can benefit people across Africa and build a strong community of practices around the digitized payment for health workers. At this juncture, I was told that it was the Vice Chancellor to officially open this. Permit me at this juncture to take the opportunity entrusted to me to launch the digital payment project for campaign health workers in sub-Saharan Africa as we build for the future. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you so much, Professor Kakumba. A very loud applause for you once again in a very full room here. Thank you for officially launching the digital payments project. And we are now going to move to officially cut the ribbon. But as we do that, allow me to recognize a few of our online participants. Online, we have participants from USAID, the mission here in Uganda, but also Senegal. We also have the Empowerment to Heal Uganda project, but we also have the Busoga Health Forum, members who have joined us online. In addition to that, we have the Digital Frontiers Institute in South Africa. We have participants from the Institute, and of course, we also have participants from the Greater Makerere University, the School of Gender, School of Public Health, the College of Health Sciences as a whole, and the entire Makerere University. Thank you so much, dear online participants and those in the physical space. We recognize each one of you. So moving on to cut this ribbon to officially launch the project. The team up here is going to move down, and we are going to request Dr. Paul Katamba from the Global Fund Uganda office to kindly join the gentlemen. In addition to that, we also wanted to request Dr. Flavia Mpanga. I don't know if she has just relocated or moved out briefly to join the team that is going to cut this ribbon. We also received apologies directly from the PS at the Ministry of Health in Uganda, who could not join us due to other duties. But we recognize that she's with us in spirit. So, gentlemen, I'm going to request you with the lady to move down. Okay. Dr. Susan Chiwanuka, please join the gentlemen. So you give Dr. Eki some company so she's not with the gentleman alone. We are also live on YouTube. The YouTube of Makerere University is live streaming this event globally. Thank you so much, the team behind there. And we are also live on Twitter, #digitalpayments. Please follow the conversation there. Okay, so consensus here at the count of, my favorite number is 6. So at the count of 6 downwards, then they'll cut the ribbon and we shall all clap. We are going to request the rest to kindly stretch your arm. Yes, so 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Congratulations. I think we can clap a little louder than that. Congratulations, the entire team. Congratulations, Uganda. Congratulations, team at Senegal. And congratulations, everybody else. Yes, could we kindly stand in front of what we have just launched so we can take a quick group photo just before we get entertainment from the University Community Choir. Dr. Eki, congratulations, and we wish you all the best as you embark to implement this. Professor Umar Kakumba, are you still with us? Please turn on your camera. Kindly turn on your web camera so you can be part of this group photo we are trying to take.
Sure, yeah? I am.
Okay, so the camera team, there's a screen.
Everything that is going on.
Okay, there's a screen just behind you where Professor Kakumba is. It would be nice to have him in the photo. Thank you. Professor Kakumba, you can smile. Okay, so in addition to this, Professor Kakumba, I'm sure you'll sign when you're back into the country, but we are going to request the team here to append their signatures on this beautiful project, POP, and then we will see what the next will be. Over to you, please. So they are pending their signatures as a sign of witnessing the launch of the digital health payment initiatives and research in Africa. The choir, that's very interesting. We can go ahead as the signing goes on. Do you want to come where I am? Yes. 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 So shortly after this, we'll have some group pictures. We'll take some group photos, categorized, and we shall be guiding you. And then we are all invited to a cocktail just in the gallery here outside for us to quench our thirst before we can hit the traffic to get home, in honor of digital payments project in Uganda. Please don't leave the cocktail for us. There's a lot to drink and bite, and it's also an opportunity for us to network. Okay. The community choir, over to you. Professor Kakumba, do you want to send me a virtual signature? I can still see you online. We shall make sure we deliver.
I can do that very well, Harriet. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Prof. And thank you for being a part of this launch. Over to you, the Makerere University Community Choir. I think the signing is done. Congratulations once again. We have an interlude of entertainment before we move to the group photos, and then we move to share our cocktail. Thank you so much. Okay, so we want to have a few categories of group photos. We'll start with the tables at the front. Please come and we take a group photo. I'm here. I'm sure you'd like to be in the photo where I am. Please come, the front table, come and join me. Let's take this group photo and then the next table and then the other table. Thank you. Let's just arrange. The choir, please go ahead. Let my speaking not interfere. Okay, could we do this a little faster, please? Some people can go to the top so your faces can be seen.
Nous avons aussi la présence de
our online audience. We are taking group photos here. You could also take group photos online.
Heruta wa makakandu kanta masinga na shashanga wa mucherre nkakemero muntu gana rugoka nabande misigeze rutigatira abantu gataza kaza natemba katika bura mataji kaza kuhenya cheko mushenyi na bura nko kumigamba niko gakagambira mawechiza mazima mawere bokunaje ndokole betagarukiro manye naza kugomba tabazi.
Okay, thank you. Do we have another team? Do we have another team longing to join in this group photo? Okay, so as the group photos go on, I have an announcement. We have some questions and feedback online, but we are downloading all these and we'll make sure that we respond to them and then we email our participants. But we can also respond to them on Twitter, real time. So let's not be afraid that we did not ask questions and respond to them. Okay, congratulations once again. Thank you, thank you. Our questions, we are going to respond to them real time on Twitter, but also via email. So thank you so much. Thank you, the Makerere University Community Choir. Very proud to associate with you. So you see me standing next to the project director. He is inviting all of us on behalf of Uganda and Senegal to a networking cocktail so that we can engage a little bit more. Like I announced earlier, for the questions, feedback, we've taken note and we shall make sure that we respond to whatever you have asked, and then we'll be able to send the responses via email. Once again, my name is Harriet Adong. I work for the Resilient Africa Network. It's a USAID-funded project where I lead the communications arm, and it's also a project within Makerere University. I also support communication for the Research and Innovations Fund, which is a government initiative to Makerere University, supporting over 1,000 cross-disciplinary researchers doing diverse research. And I was privileged to work with Max. Max, I'm sure you want to say goodbye to this audience and the audience online. But we also worked with a very big team, including Grace Amwait, the communications expert for the Digital Payments Project. She's over here. Melody over there. Kokundakwe, thank you. Davidson, I don't see you. Mr. Pio, thank you so much. Over to you, Max, so that we bring this to a close. Thank you.
Chers amis au Sénégal, merci beaucoup pour votre participation et votre collaboration sur cet événement. Ça a été un très grand plaisir de travailler avec vous. On va fermer la link Zoom maintenant. J'espère que vous allez avoir les bonnes célébrations chez vous là-bas. Thank you very much. You've been a very good audience. Yeah. Max Weber.